Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And welcome everyone to Talking Fishing, a massive week of news in the fishing world, something we've dedicated a lot of time to on this program. The water is now flowing into Toolondo Reservoir and we have all the footage on the celebrations on tonight's show. It's just absolutely fantastic. Equally as big news is the safe arrival of Pippa Lee Ring, a second daughter for Danny and Adam. Adam, congratulations on behalf of all of us here at Talking Fishing. How's Danny and young Piper going?
Awesome, very well. I was going to say by Pippa, I think you.
Oh, did I say Pippa?
You meant Piper.
Piper. I keep getting that wrong because I said Pippa at first. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
Piper.
He's
Sorry.
just thinking bait, aren't you?
Yeah.
He got his bait back.
Yeah, that's right. Pippies are back. Yeah, and both my girls are back at home. So.
Oh, way to go.
Very happy and couldn't be going better.
Yeah, very good. And as always, Trelly, great to see you. What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, actually a lot of woody things up our way.
Yeah.
I like them in the river when they get lures hooked up on them and leave them in the river to come by some more. So
Yeah,
I do
fish
like
biting right up that way?
Good, yeah, really good. The conditions are great. The water's looking really good at the moment.
Is it nearly duck season?
It's on the 21st of March, so it's about a month away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably a little bit dry.
I was down in the Mornington Peninsula on the weekend, on Sunday, sorry, and they go, local paper goes back 100 years, and it said 100 years ago, it was the Frankston Chronicle or something like that, it said duck season is called off this year, drought, no ducks, haven't bred, no duck shooting, and that still sometimes happens, doesn't it? Like, well, to an extent, they cut things back and that sort of stuff.
Well, that's right. This season we see an opening day of 10 birds and it cuts back to 5 birds per day after that. But
like a bag limit sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah. But you do see it over history. The tennis closed because of duck opening, up our way, 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
But it is regulated. It's unlike fishing. The licence money from shooting was actually imposed by shooters themselves.
Yeah, okay.
And the Balti days went to then buying all the game reserves that you see now. So the hunters are actually responsible for all those game reserves. They bought them all back with their licence money they imposed on themselves.
There you go.
Do you get like an inkling to duck season? When we say, the conditions are looking good, it's going to be a cracker of a cod season, the water's high, and do you get the same sort of thing, or do you just hope the ducks turn
they use the Labrador's tail stits up for starters. But
you get the peaking sauce out?
Yeah, that's it.
Whatever
exactly.
it is. Yeah.
But you got your water conditions, your rainfalls, all that type of thing, which is coming on, and
So what does that affect? The amount of
floodways.
ducks that breed or something, is it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. See, ducks got no boundaries. I mean, they'll all be in the middle of Australia at the moment, Lake Eyre. That's all the big water is.
Oh, really?
Queensland, they'll fly up there in a couple of days.
Yeah, okay.
They're not like fish.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, welcome to Talking Ducks. Hey, just a reminder, now if you'd like to ask us a question during tonight's show, just follow us on Twitter @TalkFishLive and send us a tweet with the hashtag TalkFishLive. You can also keep up to date with all our official Facebook page, Catch of the Week, hotspots and much more. Don't forget to like us, and to make it easier, just go to our website at talkingfishing.com.au and click on the links to Facebook or Twitter. Boys, lots of news tonight. We are going to talk about Toolondo. The water is flowing. We've got some time. Yeah, I know, absolutely. We have got some great footage. Look, there was a lot of speeches on the weekend. There was a premier, 2 ministers up there. The go button was pressed and the gates come up and the water flowed, and you're going to see all that footage tonight on tonight's show. And it's just, I tell you what, well, the premier announced it on 3AW on Friday night, and I've got to say, I had a little tear in my eye when he announced it, because it's something that we've been fighting for 2 years, and on this program probably since October. So a pretty big milestone to get that water in. And there's plenty more good news to talk about tonight too. But boys, it's time to check what's being caught by the people at home. Let's have a look at some of the catches of the week. And first up, Jovan Pagio, I think I've got that right. King George Whiting on the middle spit. I think they were all over 45 centimetres.
They all look huge.
They are.
It's a nice bag, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's hard to get a good photo of King George Whiting because they're quite a slender fish by nature, but they look huge. They have a bit of size to them, man.
Yeah.
Good smile.
And the old middle spit doesn't fail, does it?
Yeah.
There's been some cracker fish taken off it this year, and Whiting Challenge, Western Port Angling Club, not too far away. Who knows, the big 1 kilo fish? You never know, because there are some cracker fish around.
And if you don't know where the middle spit is, wait for the Whiting Challenge, because it'll be mapped by boats, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And rightly so.
Number 2, Michael Kincotter or Sincotter. How would you say that, Trelly?
It's a bit like that drink, isn't it? Chincotta drink, isn't it?
Chincotter or Sincotter. Another King George, or another couple of cracker King George Whiting from Inverloch.
That one in Michael's left hand looks huge.
Yeah, it is. Mate, some good fish down Anderson's Inlet way too. You know, like they just get into that inlet, very protected, and a great place to fish, either in a boat or land-based down there. It's,
and bass yabbies, the huge bait of choice at Inverloch.
Yeah.
Get out there on the flats in the low tide and pump your yabbies.
Yeah.
It's about the one of the few places.
One-arm bandits, nippers, whatever you want to call them.
One of the few places you hear that's the preferred bait over at Pippy, I reckon.
Yeah. There's one bloke down Blackgowrie, Lou. He calls them clinkers.
Clinkers.
God knows why, but anyway. Woo and Brown, next one. Good to see this. A lovely garfish. That was his PB, I reckon, and he's only a young fella, but from Newhaven, from the car park at the boat ramp. How good is that? A lovely garfish.
Nice garfish,
there's some gars around. I
Finally.
had people in the shop today talking, getting the old silverfish as bait.
Good.
And it was, they're all gars. They're all going for gars on Frankston Pier, so really good stuff.
Good
sensational, yeah. Marcus Lucas, number 4, an 810 gram King George Whiting, caught off Torquay.
How's the widespread locations in which these big whiting are being taken?
Yeah.
Isn't it just a sign of a great season where we've had 3 whiting reports in Catch of the Week, all from pretty well opposite ends of the spectrum as far as fishing in Victoria goes, and they're all huge.
Yeah,
that's not far off that kilo.
Yeah, close.
That's right. It's getting up there. Yeah,
wants the $1,000.
And I guess the thing about
weighed a kilo.
Yeah, it did. I guess King George Whiting like that. That's a cracker, and there's. A lot of people aren't telling us where they're catching some bigger fish. There are places around. The deep water in Western Port. There's certainly some places in Port Phillip now. They're producing lots of big King George Whiting.
You mean these people could be lying to us where they caught?
Oh, I don't think. I don't think they're lying.
I would.
Yeah. Number 5, Jacob Johnson, a 63 centimetre flathead down at Corner Inlet. Obviously on his holidays with Dad. I think closer to Yannick. In fact, he's. I don't know if it's his dad or Jack, who's the next one up's dad. I think he's the president of the Thorpedale Angling Club, and they're chasing members. So just a little plug there for the club, Thorpedale and District Angling Club, I think it's called. And just Google them. I'm sure you can find some contact details on the Google machine. And Jacob's mate, Jack. Edda Bowles, I think it is, 44 centimetre King George Whiting, again down at Corner Inlet near Yannicky. Same day as Jacob, and those two boys had a cracker session out there, I reckon. A 63 centimetre flathead and a 44 centimetre King George Whiting.
You'd be happy with
Thank
that.
you very much. Mum, I've got dinner for the lot of us.
That's right.
A bit of beer batter and...
warm up the pan.
It's that's sensational. Boys, how do you like your King George Whiting? How do you like it cooked?
As basic as possible.
And don't say the Shepparton pub.
Yeah. As basic as possible.
Yeah.
Just a bit of flour, a bit of butter in a pan.
Yep.
And just cook it real quick. They're only, even the bigger ones, they're not a really thick, chunky flesh.
No, just nice bit of butter. And
it just doesn't have to be glorified, does it?
I like a little bit of lemon juice on it, just to add a little bit gets a bit of taste out of it. And perhaps a tiny bit of salt to enhance it. But they're just, King George Whiting, absolutely beautiful. And when you get those big ones, it's just absolutely sensational.
When you take the fillets off and you've actually got, you look at it and go, there's a bit of King George Whiting there. No, absolutely. So some good stuff there. You just got to love flathead too. Where are all these big flathead coming from, by the way? Because every week there's a 60 plus centimetre flatty coming from either Western Port or Port Phillip. They don't really mind where they're coming from. They seem to be spread far and wide, but every single week someone gets a big flatty from either Western Port or Port Phillip, which we haven't seen for quite some time. So
they're pretty good.
Hopefully that keeps getting better.
They're pretty good. If you'd like to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing picture info@ifish.com.au.
And coming up on Talking Fishing Product of the Week, and you'll see what Daniel Andrews and the Water and Fisheries Ministers had to say at Toolondo last Saturday, right after this.
talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And welcome back to Talking Fishing. Don't forget, very, very shortly, all the footage from Toolondo. In fact, we've got quite a bit of footage. We've had to split it over 2 little sections, but very, very shortly we're coming to you with that. Adam, product of the week. We're going to talk about gimbal belts today and other things that could be used as gimbal belts. Kick it off.
Yeah, that's right. Gimbal belts, just like everything else we've covered on product of the week for the last few weeks. There seems to be millions and millions of different varieties, all for different purposes. But Trelly, wrap your mitts around that, mate. Believe it or not.
Trelly.
Believe it or not, Trelly.
Kids, animals, and Trelly. That's all I'm saying.
Despite what you think it may be.
We were talking about this off air.
We had a bit of fun with this one.
So,
but these are actually quite a handy device for a fisherman.
Yeah. What do you do with them?
That goes. I'm going to try and word this correctly because it could go anywhere.
You put your rod in it.
You put your rod in it.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Well, stand up. Can you stand up? I know your head's going to go off the camera.
The fat end of your rod.
It basically acts like a new butt section of your rod.
Yeah.
It looks like
a butt
something else.
That looks hard. It's actually very soft.
It's soft.
If I can show the people, it's very soft. You can bend it in half.
The rod goes straight into it.
It's like a semi-hard foam, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's super durable. It's super lightweight, so it won't affect the actions on your rods. So it's not going to overbalance things.
Yeah.
But it's designed for you to be able to sit the rod around your stomach while you're fighting a fish and
not get bruised.
That's right.
Because if you haven't got your gimbal belt with you and you've fought a kingy or a tuna or something like that,
bruises. A kingy or a tuna, geez, I've seen Drummo get... I've seen Drummo get bruised by a toady.
Yeah.
So he takes these whiting fishing. But they come in 3 sizes. We've bought the large one and we've bought the small one. Anything from small whiting and estuary rods right up to game rods, popping rods.
Charlie, yours got a hole in the bottom of it?
Yeah, it has actually.
Because I thought you were about to suggest you could drink beer out of it. But you can't,
well, if you put your little finger over it,
you probably could drink beer. The other thing is, in all seriousness, off air, Trelly can play the didgeridoo. We might go to the break. No, not now. We've got to get on with product of the week. Next one.
Next is your basic gimbal belt, which we've seen for many a year, and it's always got a purpose and still holds a purpose. Yeah. Basic plastic, so it's lightweight.
Yeah.
Little
sometimes get them in leather, don't you? Like in
that's
that
right.
size.
Well, the old traditional ones.
Leather.
You see the old surf fishermen down on Guttamatta Beach in the middle of winter, and they've got their leather one. But I guess this is the new age version. Yeah. Little bar in the middle to keep everything stable. That's as basic as it gets for a gimbal belt. You can use them for snapper, surf, gummies, whatever you like.
Tackle box.
Yeah, that's right. Easy to store. Yeah. You move up then to the aluminium version of that, which you can see there on the picture.
Screen there. Now that's actually got a bolt, and then your rod piece swivels on that bolt.
That's
which
right.
Is,
so
pretty comfortable.
That's right, and designed for that next size class up in fish you're targeting. You could easily use that down at Portland chasing a bluefin tuna, or out the front here for the kingfish at the moment. We'll house a jig rod, no worries at all.
Yeah. And that angle obviously work as you're working the rod.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're not relying on getting the gimbal part of the rod, but sitting on that bar, which with load and with a bit of pressure can be difficult at times.
And that bolt that it swivels on actually locks your rod in as well.
Definitely.
So pretty damn good.
Pretty handy. And then we move on to your more traditional game type arrangement. This is designed to sit over your thighs, not on your belly. Yeah. So it's all designed so you can use leverage through your legs, not hurting your back.
Lean back into it.
Exactly. So that's your more traditional game type harness. And then from there we go, this is something else. This is carbon fibre body. It's
this
super
is the top of the
lightweight.
range. Yeah.
It is. And this is designed predominantly for guys,
high performance.
GT popping, high-end jigging. It's got a little pin in the middle which can be removed so that some of the big popping rods don't come with gimbal fittings on the bottom of the rod. So you can remove that. Easy as that now becomes a popping belt. You can wear that. You don't have to take that off. You wear it all day and you won't even know it's there.
No weight to it. Like you say, you can move around the boat.
Exactly. And it's not rigid, so it'll actually move with you. If you're moving around and getting dragged around by big fish under high drag pressures, that'll actually move with you and really hold its strength, so you don't have to worry about that weighing you down as well.
Yeah. So there you go. The range
belts.
of gimbal belts and all that sort of stuff. Guys, we need to move on to Toolondo. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. It was a momentous occasion, and we were very lucky on Friday night. 3AW, we had the Premier on the show who gave us an exclusive. He announced that 2 things. So, and I want to pointed out to the people at home, the only promise that Daniel Andrews made going to the election was to set up a advisory group on Lake Toolondo or Toolondo Reservoir that would advise on recreational allocation, if you like, compared to environmental, domestic, rural, all that sort of stuff. So, that's all they promised. Now, there was an announcement about that, and you'll see that in this footage coming out very, very shortly. And there was no promise of water. The water was found within 6 weeks of being elected, and I just commend it. You're going to see all the footage, like I said, but we've had to break it up because there's a fair bit. And I just thought it's not bad to show the Premier of Victoria, the Water Minister, Lisa Neville, and the Fisheries Minister, Jala Pulford. They all spoke quite separately about some great things in fishing, and I just reckon it's a great thing for the people at home to see. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this bit of footage that we took on Saturday at Toolondo Reservoir.
Refer to my notes so I get all the names right. Well, I know David Kramer well, and I want to thank David for his leadership in this. Trevor Holmes, who I spoke to for the first time last night on 3AW radio, and I hear it was pretty nice at Trevor Holmes' place. It was champagne. I got sure it would have been a beer last night, but anyway, apparently it was champagne, and of course Dallas de Silva. Three people who, both in a statewide sense but also in terms of this local community, have worked so very hard to mount, hear an argument and to say this is such an important fishery, both in terms of recreational fishing, its significance in terms of the type of trout, the volume. This is such a special place, and they've convinced me and they've convinced my team of that. But it's not just about recreational fishing. This is about jobs. It's about economic development. It's about bringing people into this local community and saying, as was mentioned last night on here's a plug, David, on the 3AW fishing show last night, there was a comment made that if this resource, if this was in other parts of the world, other parts of Australia, then we would market it much better. Then we would be perhaps a little louder about exactly what's on offer here. That's perhaps something that we can think about in the future, and I'll come back to that in just a few moments. It's something that we committed to prior to the 29th of November, and I've always said if it's a promise is worth making, it's worth keeping. And that's why we are so very pleased and proud to be here today to validate the work that you've done, to reward you for the leadership, for the hard work, the campaign that you've run to win the argument. And that is to say that this is a precious resource, one that needs to be protected and saved and made better for the future. And that's what this water will do. That's what this allocation will do. Just beyond that, we're very keen, though, not just to be doing more of the same. We think there's an opportunity to do even better for the future. And that's why the advisory committee that we're committed to prior to the election, making sure that locals, as well as those who represent rec fishing and other stakeholders, statewide and locally, have a voice about the management of this resource, the improvement, the growth of this resource over time. For fishing, of course, and the recreational enjoyment that comes from that, but for those economic development reasons I mentioned also, we want to make sure that you're heard and that we can have a continuous process of improvement, a continuous process of making sure that this resource is valued and improves over time. Now, the membership of that group, we're going to leave that for a little while. We're going to take the time to listen and to make sure that we've got all the right people on the group. But today I'm very pleased to announce that that group will be chaired by former Agriculture Minister Joe Helper, someone who's well known to rec fishers, someone who's well known right throughout regional Victoria, as someone who's always had a common sense approach to things and is about outcomes. Joe's graciously agreed to come out of retirement for a very modest fee. I want to stress that, a very modest fee, to do further important work to support recreational fishing. I think he's well known to all of you as someone who'll do an outstanding job. So I can't think of a better allocation for this water. I want to thank Eildon for the work that they've done, all the others that have been mentioned so far, whether it's the local water authority, the council, all those who've advocated to say that this is a resource worth saving. That's exactly what this is. A precious spot, a beautiful spot. I've long held the view that there are very few recreational activities where people, all walks of life, all parts of our state, all ages, can come together and spend time in the outdoors, enjoying each other's company, enjoying the best of our natural environment. Rec fishing is so important to my government and so important to this community and communities right across the state. You helped to write our policy, that's why you support it so strongly, and we're about delivering each and every element of the commitments that we made, and today is an important step in doing just that. So I thank you, and I'm so very pleased to be here today. Well done to each of you, and I know that throughout 15 and into 16, and hopefully for many, many years to come, we can not only preserve this environment, but better market it to the nation and the world, and see it realise its full potential as such a special trout fishery, such a special part of our beautiful natural environment here in what is undoubtedly the best state going. Thanks very much.
Many of you might not know this, but I'm also, in my other hat, is also the member for Bellarine. So I've spent a lot of time in the debate and discussion around recreational fishing and commercial fishing. And the first time I really heard about Lake Toolondo was at the rally that was in Geelong. And I'm sure there were a number of people there because there was this massive sign that said, "Save Lake Toolondo." And to be honest, I didn't know we had to save Lake Toolondo, but I said to Jacinta Allen, who was then our spokesperson on fishing, what's Lake Toolondo? And she gave me a bit of the story, and that there was an issue about water allocation, and I thought that was a pretty good fight for people to have. And then we came out with a policy that said we wanted to keep Lake Toolondo as the premier trout fishing in the state. And I suppose that's what we're here to do today, to make sure that we deliver on that election. I think I said today that we've delivered in 6 weeks. And that's really down to the pressure and the support and the passion that you had for doing this.
And some pretty good information there. As Lisa Neville pointed out just then too, like I said earlier on, 6 weeks to deliver that is pretty good. And, a sincere thanks to Aluka Mining, who had that allocation of water and donated it virtually to rec anglers to, say, yep, there you go, the water's there, we don't need it, you can have it, which was fantastic, and fair bit of brokering in the background by the, the state government, when they were elected. So happened pretty quick, given that there was a Christmas break in between all that.
Exactly.
That is just magic news, and you're going to see very, very shortly the water flowing. It's just fantastic. What that does for trout fishing in the next couple of weeks,
should be good.
It should be good, but on Sunday I know Trevor Holmes went and fished it, and he caught some absolute crackers. But anyway, Up next we continue with the great news for Toolondo Reservoir. We'll bring footage of the first drop of water to flow when Daniel Andrews hits the go button right after this.
Talking fishing, talking fishing, talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now it's time for the news, the fisheries news. Sounds a bit fishy to me.
And welcome back to Talking Fishing. I think we've sorted out our little technical issues with the second part of Toolondo coming up very, very shortly. There is a little bit more fisheries news that we'll talk about later on in the program. A big artificial reef to be sunk off Torquay in 25 metres of water. Talk to you about that very, very shortly. But back to Toolondo, boys. I just want to paint the picture. It was a bit of an invite-only event, and the 150 people that turned up that weren't invited were just so rapt to see it. And of course, I think the marquee going up the day before and a bit of maintenance for the whole week on the gates gave it away that there was something big about to happen. And painting the picture, Daniel Andrews arrives, and he was just applauded like I guess a rock star, and there'll probably be Kramer's mailbag next week saying, Labor this and Labor that.
Yeah.
I don't mean that. They're the government now. They're getting on with the job. They're getting on with what they promised. And when he got out of the car, people knew what was coming. They knew what the announcement was going to be. And there was tears. There was champagne. There was some mixed emotions, I can tell you, and it was pretty good. Here's the video coming up right now. Let's go and have a look at it. Here you go.
We've got a great policy, and I couldn't be more pleased than having a responsibility for implementing it. And this is this is just wonderful for this community to be able to guarantee the future of Toolondo. It means so much, I know. It's part of a bigger package. We've got a $35 million plan to support recreational fishing. We've got a target. We want to increase the rec fishing population in Victoria to 1 million, and to really grow opportunities to provide better infrastructure, greater opportunities for more people to be out and wetting a line. So it's just great to be here today. I'd like to also thank Trevor and David and Dallas in particular for their leadership of this campaign over a number of years. These things can take a bit of time to win. These fights that are worth having can often take a while, but yes, we're very pleased to have been able to deliver on it, and to deliver on it so quickly.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
We're going to do a big 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my God!
People would know Trevor Holmes from Victorian Inland Fishing Charters, and behind us, Premier Daniel Andrews has just hit the button for the gates. The water is flowing into Toolondo and Premiere. Massive congratulations. Yeah, good news. That water running in the background is absolutely sweetness to the ears.
All the work for a long time, and a massive thank you to you guys.
All good, mate. To see that water flowing into there all the time. It's going now.
On behalf of the Toolondo community, you've put life back into Toolondo. Look at these people, you know, they love this place. This is what we're all about, and I'd like you all to accept one of these Taste of Toolondo recipe books, and you'll note on the front there's the old Toolondo General Store on there. Well, hopefully we can get one of those back here one day. So on behalf of everyone here and all our distinguished guests, I'd like to just pass these on as a token of our gesture for putting life back into Toolondo, and we can't thank you enough.
So I've just quickly grabbed the Premier Daniel Andrews. Daniel, I just want to make a personal thank you to you on behalf of all the anglers in Victoria. I know people watching Talking Fishing tonight have seen some great footage and speeches. You pressing the gate. It's just a fantastic opportunity. Thanks, mate.
No, and thank you for the campaign you've run. So many others as well joining with you. This is a very special spot, and it's worth fighting for, and we've got a great outcome here.
There you have it. Like we've said earlier on, this is the premier trout fishery in Victoria, and this man is through a lifeline. Tell you what, I hope the people at home got as emotional as we just did then, watching that water flow, and particularly the countdown 1, 2, 3, and it was as simple as you press the button. The gates came up, took a while to get up. They were driven, but boy, there was some emotion.
Well, when the first thing you hear is, "Oh my God!"
When
this water starts trickling out from, that's pretty intense. You don't realise how much it means to the people of Toolondo when you see that actually happen. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very good, and you know, I tell you what, the people of Horsham, I'm told there was 50 odd people there the next day, just sitting around the inlet channel or the outlet channel, watching the water flow in. It was just sensational. So don't forget, if you'd like to ask us a question during tonight's show too, just follow us on Twitter at TalkFishLive and send us a tweet with the hashtag TalkFishLive. Kramer's mailbag up next, and plenty more on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, talking fishing. Nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And a little bit of mailbag this week, boys. Kramer's mailbag. Peter Salter from Leopold. He asked a very simple question to us. Have the kingfish turned up in the heads yet?
A very, very simple question. Very simple answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I heard reports. I was in Mornington on Sunday, and the boys had certainly been talking to the charter boys on Saturday. Reports of a 12 and a 15 kilo caught on a charter. I know Michael Buxton, I know I probably talk about him every week because he's on holidays down at Portsea, but today he was trolling X-Raps in the heads and getting hit by big kingfish that he couldn't stop.
It's pretty funny at the start of this season. The live bait thing hasn't been the number one at the moment, and that might be because they could be hard to get. I'm not too sure. We don't get too many reports on live bait, but a lot of fish on jigs, and trolling's been great too. You know, small bibbed hard bodies. You don't have to get down super deep. But trolling around till you find them, dropping some jigs seems to be working number one.
I was going to say jigs is a good one, Ads, and you know a lot of people don't like going out through their heads into Barwon heads. Through the rip. They're a little bit scared of that. If you haven't done it before, it can be a very eerie place. But when they turn up in the heads, you don't have to go out through there. It's probably a good kilometre inside the heads where some of the best marks are. Calm day, just absolutely beautiful. So, Peter, thanks for the question. Adrian Summer from Warneet. If they don't get rid of that horsepower limit on Blue Rock Lake, they're kidding themselves. It needs Daniel Andrews to fix it. I agree. Last week, I think I spoke about we had the table up, that's right, that said they want to go from 10 horsepower to 30 horsepower. Now, that's Southern Rural's, I guess, first proposal up, and they've asked for public comments, which I think close on about the 4th of February, something like that. But boys, seriously, they've got to take the horsepower limit off.
Weren't quite getting that right, were they?
No. Or there's no reason to keep it.
No, and I don't get it because every year they have to provide a permit to the BASComp and give them an exemption to put the big motors on, even though they all fish with electrics. But they've all got 100 to 150 horsepower hanging off their boats.
That's right.
So I don't get why they wouldn't have spoken to those people, or at least had the sense to say, well, those boats have got big motors and they're allowed on here. And, I just think they just need to fix that.
So what are we saying?
No horsepower limit.
We're saying no horsepower limit and a speed limit.
Yep.
And if you want to go back to the technicalities of it, Trelly, Daniel Andrews in his election policy said he will remove the horsepower limit and the boat size limit.
So there you go.
So
that's right.
I'll give him 2 weeks to do it, all right? What do you reckon? Let's have a bet. Graham from King Lake. This one's for you, Trelly. What do you do if a 1 metre cod dies during the fight? Do you eat it, mount it, or leave it? What's the law?
Panic.
Okay.
Number one.
Well, the fish might have already panicked, but in all seriousness, a big cod dies in the fight that's outside of the slot limit. What do you have to do?
Technically, you can't keep it. So, but if you've caught it, sort of let it go. But then you encourage people to go. Well, if it dies, I can keep it as a.
It's a great question.
So what do you do? You just let it sink to the bottom, or?
Well, technically, yeah. I suppose you do. You've got to let it.
And then if it washes up on the bank, does the bloke on the bank take it home and release it and say, "Look what I caught," because technically you caught it.
I know. So
it's a great question, and it's always, I guess, a valid question when you're talking slot limits.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well, the answer is technically you can't keep it.
Technically, you got it.
You're not allowed to take it.
Nah. Basically.
That's what you do. You bury it, let it go, let it sink. I really can't answer it.
Yeah. We've got Trelly stumped. There you go.
Yeah.
If you'd like to write to me or these blokes, this is what you do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
And boys, as I said earlier on in the show, a little bit of news coming out of fisheries as well. We're going to talk about that. New Torquay reef, a boost for local jobs and local fishing. I think we've got a bit of a slide to come up very shortly. That is one of the modules, boys. Look at, I think that's Paul Hamer, the scientist, standing in that. Yep. 25 large reef modules will soon be installed 3 kilometres offshore between Brimley and Torquay, creating exciting new fishing opportunities for boat-based anglers in years to come. Measuring over 4 metres high and weighing up to 20 tonnes, the modules will create variable water currents and movements that attract bait fish and predators such as yellowtail kingfish, a prized catch among recreational anglers. Those modules have been built in Geelong by a family company. and they're really just waiting. It was $1.5 million project coming out of licence money, so how good is that? And I think it just says here.
Pretty safe to say they won't float.
No, they won't float. I can't exactly see where it says it here, but they're virtually waiting for a couple of calm days. They have to go out through the heads and put them over. And
big operation, dropping that much.
How many of those particular structures do you know?
25 of them.
Oh, 25 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That is a massive reef, the biggest reef ever to be sunk in Victoria. So,
awesome.
you know, that is exciting.
That's mad.
You know, go back to Joe Helper days where we put the concrete reef balls into Port Phillip Bay, which Frankston, Chelsea and Aspendale, something like that, 3 in there. There's been a couple more put in, I think offshore from Malakuta. I've got a feeling they're doing some in Lake Tyers and inside Malakuta, I think.
Yep.
I stand to be corrected on that, but to put these offshore,
a great program. Oh yeah, definitely, because it's going to encourage people to explore offshore.
Yeah.
Which I think up until the Kingfish the last couple of years, it's been something a few people have been a bit cautious of because it can be a rough place, but the fishing out there is untapped. It doesn't get the pressure inside. It's just going to open up a whole new, I guess, spectrum of opportunities for fishermen.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
One spot, or are they going to separate little spots?
No, pretty much in one spot creates one big reef. So you can imagine that, you know, 25 of those in a square, I guess.
Wow.
That's big.
You guys looking at that in the GPS?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is about these artificial reefs, you can go onto DEPI's website and under fisheries and actually see the locations of any of the reefs that they've sunk. You know, so it's all fair, it's all there, and it's there for the purpose of recreational fishing and enhancing it. So great news, and obviously that's been a project in the pipeline for quite some time.
Yep, it's ready to go.
Ready to go. It's just fantastic. If you want to check out some of these photos, by the way, you can keep up to date with our official Facebook page, Catch of the Week, hotspots, pictures of artificial reefs, and much more. Don't forget to like us, and to make it easier, just go to our website at talkingfishing.com and click on the links to Facebook or Twitter. Boys, we'll probably stop talking about Toolondo now, I guess, but just in final saying, I know it's been a bit rushed with some of the stuff that we've talked about tonight, but in final saying, the people, and you know who you are at home, who were part of the Toolondo Reservoir campaign that started the Facebook page, that started the there was a, what do they call it,
petition.
A petition. Thank you very much, Adam. Lots of words there. You know, a lot of people collectively made this happen. We're just privileged that we've got a television show and ads through our W. We're privileged to have that, to be a bit of a spokesperson and help the campaign. But there are some people that have worked damn hard, a lot more hours than what any of us have done, and I just sincerely want to thank those people. Trevor Holmes is one of them. You know, Jeff Stock, who we had on the couch, Melissa Keneally, Charlie, can't remember his last name, but just some great people, you know. And young Tash, who wrote that little poem and a story about it. She was there and celebrating. So it was great that everyone could turn up and just enjoy what was a great celebration for Toolondo.
How much water was going to go in there?
Well, the 5,000 megs will bring it up about a metre, they're saying. Maybe a tad over metre one. So, significant. Yep. So, coming up on Talking Fishing, this week's hot spots and what's coming up on C31 right after this.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, talking fishing. Nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Hello, Richie Minnow here. It's now time for this week's Fishing Hotspots on Talking Fishing. Marvellous.
Actually heard a rumour that Richie Minnow is starting up his own Facebook page. Have you heard that?
Oh, watch out. No, he can't do that.
He's got a fan club.
He won't do that because he'll embarrass our page. He'll have twice, 4 times the amount of likes that we've got.
Yeah, I've just heard a rumour that Richie Minnow is starting a fan page and he's going to be on Facebook. That's just what I've heard.
Well played,
Hotspots, let's get into it. Frankston Pier is number one, as I mentioned earlier on. A few people talking about the garfish on Frankston Pier. And I tell you what,
salmon as well.
And salmon.
Oh my
Absolutely,
God.
yeah. But I think we've just been a bit quiet on the garfish for a couple of years now. It's just been a little bit tough. I know my mate Lou down at Blairgowrie bangs them all the time, but he's the only one that seems to get them.
Yeah.
And Frankston Pier just absolutely on fire with garfish, and like we saw in New Haven, there's some nice fish over there too. But Frankston Pier, I'd say, is number one. Get yourself some silverfish for bait, and they're just absolutely a delight to eat as well. Number two, the Pinnis Channel. Absolutely on fire for King George whiting. I know there's a lot of boats out there and people say, oh, why do you give our spots away? Well, we want people to enjoy fishing.
Yeah, that's right. It's the best whiting season we've had in years. Why not?
And it is. It's a cracker season. I don't think the scientists predicted this.
No.
It
One
is
out of the box.
It's a cracker whiting season. So not only are they inshore, in close, but there's some crackers out at the Pinnis Channel. Very easy to find the Pinnis Channel. If you go down, if you launch at Sorrento, just make sure you miss that sandbank. There's an old wooden structure with 3 yellow buoys that are lit at night. Go to the left-hand side of that, down the Pinnis, and you'll see right past Mud Island, beautiful weed banks on the left-hand side, boys.
Awesome.
So pretty good. We can't go past the Rippers, number 3. The Kingfish are there now. Pick your tides and your tide just before your tide changes. You might want to go maybe an hour and a half before the tide change.
Yep.
Make sure it's a calm day.
Yeah, that's right.
It's always better on a flood tide.
Yep.
It's, ebb tide, you got the tide against the surf and
vertical jigs
coming
at the
in.
moment.
And vertical jigs. And
jigs.
do you know, Adam, I used some different jigs when I was away in Narooma for the Kingfish, and there's some really good, around that 320 grams. They're just a beautiful shape. They're heavy, they get down quick, and they're a big jig in the water that Kingfish really love them.
Exactly,
so,
and it appeals to all. They're not just big. You'll get the undersized ones on this big, massive 320 gram jig. So don't be afraid of the size of the jigs or anything, but you just got to get to the bottom.
Work them hard.
Oh, yeah, go hard on them.
You just got to go hard, don't you?
Crank them up, because those kingies will be following them all the way to the surface. Don't be surprised if you get a kingy 3 metres below the surface. You're about to, call it quits.
I've done it before, and you sort of, if you're not looking the other way.
Take everything.
Catch
it.
I'll fish with blokes like you, Charlie. Bang on the head, Number 4, the Middle Spit, as always, the traditional home of King George whiting in Western Port.
Yep, the big whiting beacon of Western Port.
Yeah. Pippies and mussels.
Yep.
Cocktail, even if you can get some fresh squid, it's always good too, but certainly pippies and mussels is one of the best.
Easy, definitely.
And Middle Spit, doesn't matter what tide, it's just fishing sensationally. The thing is, you need a bit of flow.
Yeah, exactly. As long as there's flow, you're pretty well set.
Yeah.
So
harder the better, I reckon, and just fish the weight that suits the tide.
Yep.
You just got to be in the zone, and those King George whiting, they just love a bit of current.
And move often till you find them. I think that's a big thing with the whiting, especially on the spit. Move
find
often.
Sand,
if you haven't got any half an hour, just move. It could be moved 20 metres.
Yeah.
Just follow the tide, move down a little bit, and start again.
Yeah. Number 5, hotspot. I was going to give away Greg Duncan's very special spot, but I won't give that this week. No, Hastings.
Which pub is that?
No. I nearly gave it away last week. So anyway, Hastings on fire for snapper again, and a bit of a run of snapper off Hastings, 4 to 5 kilos.
And not far out of the channel.
No, and a lot of people have stopped fishing for snapper. They're all changed. Those guys are going, no, I want a couple of nice size snapper. There are some nice 4 and 5 kilo models around now off Hastings, like you said, not far from the end of the channel, the Hastings Channel, and that 18, 19 metres of water is just absolutely sensational. And lucky last for the hotspots this week, many people heading down there for the long weekend, the Australia Day long weekend, the Lawn Pier. Can't go past the Lawn Pier.
The old Lawn Pier.
Australian salmon, King George whiting early in the morning, calamari at night, some beautiful flathead off there, and trevally around the pylons.
Yep.
So great variety. For your calamari, there's only one hint I can give you. Look for the black ink on the deck, and that's where the calamari have been caught. And from all reports, the deck is black, boys. So, so it's pretty good fishing. And Lawn, of course, it's already packed this time of year, but those people going down there for the Australia Day long weekend, wow. It'll just be mayhem, as will Mornington Peninsula, Bellarine Peninsula. It's just great that people are out. And, we've had some ordinary weekend last week, the predictions for rain, all that sort of stuff. So,
and like you say, it's booked out. We tried to get in on the weekend, and it was just...
Where's that?
Down Lawn.
Yeah.
Tried to get in there on the weekend.
You wouldn't get in.
And couldn't get in.
No, not at all. Yeah. We went down the peninsula and the big market down at Point Nepean, and I've never seen it so busy down there. And then luckily we've got friends in Portsea, and sort of we called in there. But just sensational to see people out and about.
Yeah.
a strong southerly was blowing Sunday, and that whole peninsula was protected from it because it was a true southerly. So it was a bit of a cool wind, but the amount of boats were out fishing close to shore, and I reckon you had half a kilometre of very calm seas, and then it was whitecaps after then. So that's the beauty of the peninsula when it's blowing a true southerly or even a bit of a southwesterly. You've got a lot of protection down there and places to fish. You know.
And it's worth taking advantage of those little windows. A lot of people just write it off completely, but lots of calamari getting around. The whiting sitting close. You don't have to cruise out into the middle of the bay to catch them.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them around. The salmon are busting up in as little as 2 metres of water.
Yeah.
So just make the most of your conditions.
Trelly, Lake Eildon, you heard much from there?
Yeah, it's been fishing really well actually. Lake Eildon, they catch some nice cod.
Yep.
Around the wall.
Okay.
And
so when you say around the wall, real deep, because it gets pretty deep there. It'd be
when
I'd be
you're
right in saying 40,
like,
50 metres deep.
Oh yeah, it's all of that and more.
Yeah.
And when you're out the boat, you're looking at the wall. You'll see a couple of big rock faces and just use those rock faces there. And Nellacooty. Nellacooty's been fishing. A lot of reports on big Murray cod being caught in Nellacooty.
Yep.
And I thought the rain would have affected it up there in the last week or so, but it hasn't really. So the water's flowing pretty consistently. It's pretty clear. It's around those lakes, you know, the Goulburn, the Murray River, down around Barmer and those sort of areas. It's been fishing excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Gippsland adds some of those histories, the Bem and Marlow.
Well, Brendan Wing from UFish TV, who will be on again shortly.
Yep.
He's up there with Sasha Sergiu, I think you pronounce it.
Yep.
They're up there at the moment. They had a tough first day. It blew crazy amounts of wind, but they ended up getting 19 fish, both bream and estuary perch, all rolling hard bodies on the flats. And Sash and Brendan's young boys, Finn and Harry, they dominated. They showed the old boys up, no worries at all.
Keen, go hard.
Oh yeah, they smashed him. And Chris Halstead, we caught up with him today. They had a great trip at Malakuta. Lots of big flatties offshore. There's kings, there's makos, there's flatties. It seems though all those Gippsland estuaries got a nice little flush out with rain, and they're just hitting their prime now.
It's good, isn't it?
That's great.
Still plenty of people away too on holidays.
Oh,
and I think this long weekend, if they're not on holidays, they're going.
They will be
so.
again. Yep.
Boys, I've got to get on to what's coming up on C31. And there's Trelly just playing the didgeridoo there. A bit of music for coming up on C31. Keep going, Trelly, if you like. Tonight, after us, Catch and Cook at 9:30, then 10 o'clock, Savage Seas Adventures. On Wednesday, which is tomorrow morning, Liquid Vision, the brand new show. Thursday, 6:30 in the morning, Australian Fishing Network, and 10 o'clock at night, Liquid Vision. It's hard working with kids, animals and Trelly. Friday, 6:30 in the morning, Catch and Cook, 7 a.m, Liquid Vision, and then on Saturday, the big extravaganza starts as it always does. 10 a.m, Liquid Vision, 10:30 a.m, Savage Seas Adventures, 11 a.m, Australian Fishing Network, 11:30, That's Fishing, 12 noon, Catch and Cook. And then Saturday night, after you've had a little bit of a break, watch something else. Saturday night, 6:30, That's Fishing, Liquid Vision at 7, and Australian Fishing Network at 7:30 p.m.
It's not a bad setup. Is between 12:30 and 6:30, they let you go fishing.
That's right.
Yeah. So you can come back and watch it again.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think we've got some cracker weekend weather coming up too.
Finally.
I think so.
Yeah.
Bit of warmth, bit of humidity around.
Yeah. Well, it was warm today, and I think people that work indoors sort of went outside going, oh, muggy,
hang on a minute.
31. I did hear there's some good rain hitting Toolondo. 48, was it 48 mil last week?
Yeah.
Now,
in that last set of storms that we had.
Thursday, I think, because it was after the show, wasn't it? So 48 mil fell last Thursday. Just a reminder to everybody at home too, the video that we had a few technical difficulties, it's going to be on our Facebook page, and a few links on our website is on there. So, but that's it for Talking Fishing. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, all the info from tonight's show will be on our Facebook page tomorrow. Hope you all catch lots of fish this Australia Day long weekend. Until next Tuesday evening, stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing. Talking fishing.